Yes, for me, I'm just going to tell a story from the family setting. This is my mom, and this is Olga's mom. My mom is in hospital, and so Olga's mom came to visit with my mom. And it's a beautiful thing to see the two of them together. But around mid-April, we got a message from my mom, who was living in Arua, which is in northwestern Uganda, that she was feeling terribly ill. And so we struggled and we said, okay, nobody knew exactly what it was. We said, okay, we brought her down to Kampala and we started doing a number of tests. So after 2 weeks of tests and scans, it was confirmed that she has cancer of the liver. And so after some time, they began to put her on some medication for the cancer. The first week was reasonably okay. The second week was very tough because of the side effects of the cancer medicine that she was taking. And at the end of that week, we went for a review, and they found that additionally, she had an infection in the lungs, and so she had to be hospitalized. And so for the last about 2 or 3 weeks, we were, up and down hospital. So we're actually not very sure whether we were going to make it to this gathering. So the week that she was in hospital, the first 2 days were very, very difficult. And she, by her own confession, she felt like she was dying. In fact, she said to us, let's not waste her time, just take her now when she can still, all the way back home, and start making all the burial arrangements for her, because she felt like she was dying. But looking at Mom, I realized that there was so much, she was not at peace. I wasn't very certain about where she was going. And she was talking a lot of cultural, she was going down that line. Just when you were sharing, Joshua, about the family background and those traditional things, and so she was in that mode. So in ourselves, we felt like, this is not a good time for Mom to be dying. And she's a Christian. We were talking about it earlier that in Africa, sometimes there's a lot of religious beliefs. So somebody can be a Christian, but because of all these cultural things, which are sort of doubling in there, they're not very focused. So at that point, we're looking at Mom and it's like, So we began to pray for her. And we're praying for her that, Lord, give her a bit more time to just get her house in order. And on day 3, I'm sure that many people here were also praying. God began to turn the story for her and began to give her, a bit more energy and get back on a recovery track. So day 3 was reasonable. Day 4, by day 5, when we were released from the hospital, she was in a much better state. But the most important thing that we saw was that her testimony, the testimony from her mouth, had changed. She was giving praises to God. She was saying, I thought that I was dead, but I was thinking in my own mind and but the truth is about the Word of God. And we were very happy that her testimony had changed. And ever since she left hospital, everyone who comes to visit, she's telling them about the goodness of God and telling them to turn their ways, turn back to God. This was while we were still in hospital. This is, that's Mom. This is my uncle. This is his wife. That's my auntie, who is Mom's sister. And that's myself. So by this time, this was around day 4, day 5. And she was already speaking, words of encouragement. And so what do I have to say? From what we've been sharing here, Olga and I are somewhere in the center of this whole thing, because we're hosting Mom at our home. So we have all these relatives coming, my brothers, my sisters. I have a brother who lives in the UK. He's coming down. My dad and other siblings who live in Arua, they've also come down. So our house has become one big converging place, a gathering place. And we're saying to ourselves, could this be an opportunity for us, as the people gather, Some of them have walked away from God, and we're saying that could this be an opportunity for us to use the situation that Mom is in as a platform to advance the gospel and to cause people to be reconciled back to God and also between themselves.